Once upon a time, in the tranquil groves of Jetavana, a curious and troubled individual named Ananda approached the Buddha. Ananda was known for his quick temper and impulsiveness, traits that had led to numerous conflicts and suffering in his life. He sought the Buddha's guidance to learn the power of not reacting and controlling his emotions. Ananda started, "I am plagued by my impulsive reactions and the turbulent emotions they unleash. I seek your guidance on how to control my emotions and the power of not reacting to life's provocations." The Buddha, with his serene countenance, acknowledged Ananda's plea and invited him to sit. "Ananda, I understand your predicament. Controlling one's emotions and not reacting impulsively is a noble endeavor. To begin, we must understand the nature of our emotions. Emotions are like wild horses," he said. "When left unchecked, they can run amok and cause great turmoil in our lives. To control them, we must first understand their origin and effects." Ananda listened attentively as the Buddha continued, "Our emotions are born from our thoughts and perceptions. They arise when we attach ourselves to the pleasant and resist the unpleasant. This attachment and aversion give birth to the turbulence of emotions. To control them, we must practice non-attachment." Ananda, eager to learn, asked, "But how can we practice non-attachment, blessed one? It seems so difficult when emotions grip us tightly." The Buddha smiled gently and replied, "Non-attachment is not about suppressing or denying your emotions, Ananda. It is about understanding them without judgment. When you feel anger, sadness, or joy, simply observe these emotions without clinging to them or pushing them away. They are like passing clouds in the sky of your mind. Embrace them with mindfulness." Buddha continued, "Ananda, let me tell you the parable of the second arrow." Buddha often used the analogy of the second arrow to explain emotional suffering. He explained that when we experience physical or emotional pain, the first arrow, our reaction to that pain, the second arrow, is often what causes more significant suffering. By being reactive, we exacerbate our distress. Buddha advised that we can minimize suffering by not shooting the second arrow, by not reacting to the initial pain. Ananda listened intently as the Buddha continued, "The first arrow represents the pain or suffering we experience in life. It could be physical, emotional, or mental distress. The second arrow is the one we shoot ourselves when we react with aversion, anger, or resistance to the first arrow." The Buddha elaborated, "When you encounter the first arrow, don't shoot the second arrow. Instead, practice non-reaction. Accept the pain or suffering with equanimity, knowing that it is a part of life's experiences. The second arrow is the one we have control over, and by not reacting, we can minimize our suffering." Meanwhile, one of the disciples said, "Let me share a real-life story of the Buddha with you. It will help to cope with anger and transform your life." A Brahmin, who was known for his quick temper and insults, once approached Buddha and hurled a barrage of insults. The Buddha, however, remained entirely calm and unperturbed. This surprised not only the Brahmin, but also those who were witnessing the encounter. When asked why he hadn't reacted to the insults, the Buddha responded with a question of his own, "If someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The Brahmin replied, "It belongs to the one who offered it." The Buddha then said, "Exactly. In the same way, I did not accept your insults, so they still belong to you." This story encapsulates the power of non-reaction. The ability to remain unruffled in the face of provocation reflects one's mastery over his own emotions. You should not allow the negativity of others to affect your inner peace. Emphasizing that our emotional reactions are choices we make. By choosing not to react impulsively to life's challenges and provocations, we can prevent unnecessary suffering and maintain our inner peace. Buddha continued, "Throughout history, many individuals, including kings and leaders, have fallen victim to their impulsive reactions. Their stories serve as cautionary tales, illustrating the detrimental impact of reacting without thought. Let's share with you the famous story of the powerful king. Once there was a powerful king who ruled over a vast territory. He was renowned for his wealth and prosperity, but his arrogance and impulsivity led to his downfall. One day the king sought advice from the wise and enlightened man before launching a military campaign against the Persians. The wise man's response was cryptic, stating that if the king attacked, a great empire would fall. Interpreting this as a favorable prediction, the king waged war against the neighboring country. However, he failed to recognize the ambiguity of the wise man's statement. The great empire that fell was, in fact, his own. The king lost the battle and was captured by the enemy. His inability to control his reactions and ego led to a devastating outcome. As Ananda continued his journey of self-discovery under the Buddha's guidance, the sage shared practical tips for emotional control. Mindfulness meditation. The Buddha encouraged Ananda to practice mindfulness meditation regularly. By observing his thoughts and emotions without judgment, Ananda gained insight into their impermanent and ever-changing nature. This practice allowed him to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Breathe mindfully. The Buddha taught Ananda the power of mindful breathing. Whenever Ananda felt overwhelmed by emotions, he could pause and take a few deep, mindful breaths. This simple act helped him regain his composure and respond with clarity. Practice loving kindness. The Buddha emphasized the importance of cultivating loving kindness or metta. By extending love and goodwill to oneself and others, Ananda could foster empathy and compassion, which are key elements of emotional control. Reflect on impermanence. Ananda learned to contemplate the impermanence of all things. The Buddha encouraged him to reflect on the transitory nature of emotions and circumstances, reminding him that, like everything else, they too shall pass. Over time, Ananda's practice of emotional control and non-reaction bore fruit. He noticed significant changes in his life. His quick temper gradually mellowed, and conflicts that would have once erupted into heated arguments were now met with a calm and composed demeanor. The consequences of emotional control were profound. Ananda found that by not reacting impulsively, he preserved his relationships, both personal and professional. He was able to listen actively, understand others' perspectives, and respond with wisdom rather than reacting emotionally. His newfound serenity allowed him to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and resilience. As Ananda continued to follow the Buddha's teachings on emotional control and non-reaction, he recognized the profound wisdom in these practices. Non-reaction was not about suppressing emotions, but about responding skillfully. It was about taking a step back from the heat of the moment, observing one's emotions with equanimity, and choosing a thoughtful response. One day, while meditating under the Bodhi tree, Ananda experienced a moment of deep insight. He realized that the power of non-reaction was the power to transform suffering into wisdom. By not impulsively reacting to life's challenges, he could learn from them and grow. With the Buddha's guidance, Ananda began to practice non-attachment. He observed his emotions as they arose and gradually learned to let them pass without reacting impulsively. Ananda's journey, guided by the wisdom of the Buddha, illustrated the transformative power of non-reaction and emotional control. His story serves as a testament to the timeless teachings that continue to inspire and guide individuals on their own paths to serenity and wisdom.